People of New Orleans are sending an unmistakable message. They will not let this attack or the attackers' deluded ideology overcome us. None of us should fear that he'll overcome us. We're going to continue to relentlessly pursue ISIS and other terrorist organizations where they are, and they'll find no safe harbor here.
President Biden vowing to take on ISIS following the terror attack in New Orleans after meeting with his Homeland Security team in the Situation Room.
The questions remain about the reason behind the rising terror threat and what the incoming Trump administration can do to stop it.
Jeh Johnson served as DHS Secretary under President Obama and joins us now in studio. Mr. Secretary, if you had a meeting today to talk about 2 days since the attack and you had all your department heads there, what would be the first thing you'd begin to ask? What would you begin to probe? What would you begin to do?
Well, here's what I would say, first of all. We're in the midst of an evolving, heightened threat picture right now. With the collapse of the Assad regime in Syria, with the attack 2 days ago, I'm sure ISIS feels emboldened right now. And we have several major security events coming up. The inauguration, for one, the Super Bowl in a couple weeks after that. And I would say what I did say to my people at DHS when I was in office, don't just respond to the last attack. Anticipate the next one, which may be of a very different character. Now, we've known for some time that the possibility of an attack with a vehicle is a weapon, or a mass shooting, is something to anticipate and prepare for. We should not believe that we've seen the last of this type of vehicle attack. And so, but I always encourage my people, be vigilant and think about what could come next. Don't just plug the last hole.
So, Mr. Secretary, what do you make of, the intel community, the counterterrorism groups inside of the country, both Democrat and Republican, and they come from that 9/11 era of country first, and they fight for the country as a result of that. But there's been many people inside the community that said we're focused on the wrong things. We're not focusing on the ideology of these folks, going after them. We're seeing people in the middle of the street with ISIS flags and Hamas flags. These are threats to the country. Sunday, right after the event. So what do you make of that? Is it fair to say that we're not focusing on the right things right now?
Well, I'll count myself as among the 9/11 community.
Okay.
I was here in Manhattan on 9/11, 2001. I was in the Pentagon as the senior legal official, 2009 to 2012, when we took a lot of these guys out. For a while, you can see the terrorist threat to our country evolving from terrorist-directed attacks, where a terrorist organization overseas directs a large-scale attack on the United States, 9/11 being the prime example. The attempted underwear bombing, you may recall, the attempted shoe bombing, Richard Reeves, those were terrorist-directed attacks. We evolved from that in about 2013, 2014, to what we now refer to as terrorist-inspired attacks, where a terrorist organization on the internet will attempt to inspire someone who is living in this country to radicalize and take it upon themselves to carry out a terrorist attack. We saw a spate of these in 2014, 2015, 2016, when I was in DHS. And that threat has not gone away, and I'm concerned that it's at a heightened level right now.
Mr. Secretary, critics argue that, in part, the current administration has emboldened these inspired terrorist attacks, in part because taking the eye off the ball, focusing toward Americans, as well as sort of a different focus instead of on threats, on one of phraseology and sort of a tepid approach to the international community. The question, sir, is what do you want to see in the next administration so that we take steps forward and not steps back?
Well, no matter who the president is, no matter whose administration it is, I believe there needs to be an intense focus among counterterrorism officials in multiple agencies right now on this evolving, heightened threat picture that we see right now, no matter who the president is. And there are counterterrorism professionals in the Pentagon, at the FBI, at NCTC, CIA, ODNI, multiple agencies that are charged with looking at this evolving threat picture. Our political leadership has to pay close attention to the evolving intelligence picture to make sure we set the right priorities and we do not take our eye off the ball.
And Mr. Secretary, foreign governments, as you know, help you. This guy went
Yes.
over there for 10 days in Egypt.
Yeah.
And if he was hanging out with the wrong guys, the way I've been told, when the communication's good, we find out about it.
That is absolutely true. I can testify from personal experience that the relationships we have with other governments, other intelligence communities is crucial to preventing someone even from entering the United States, getting into this hemisphere.
Yeah.
If you have a good relationship with an intelligence agency overseas, one where on the surface we don't have such a great relationship, you can get a tip from that intelligence agency. Hey, we just found out such and such may be trying to come to your hemisphere.
Super beneficial.
Ms. Secretary, great to see you. Thanks so much
Appreciate
for coming
you.
in,
See you.
especially this time.
Thanks.
Nobody better to talk to. Thank you.